Meanwhile, Judicial Watch is suing the Justice Department for communications between Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr, Christopher Steele, and Fusion GPS. Joining me now with more is Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton, GOPAC Chairman David Avella, and Fox News contributor, former Clinton pollster Doug Schoen. Okay, we've got this link between Steele, Orr, and the Russia oligarch. But there seems that there's no way for Congress to get information in their oversight attempts. There's no way the Justice Department is giving information via Freedom of Information. The only way we're getting information now is, as usual, through Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch. All right, so now, Tom, you get all this information about the oligarch and Christopher Steele. What is that about?
Well, look, Christopher Steele, it looks like, was working with Fusion GPS even back then, which we have to remember was representing Putin interests in court here in the United States, trying to target Putin's critics. And the key Putin critic that led to the Magnitsky Act that was famously discussed at the Trump Tower meeting. So you had these Putin interests pushing obviously, it looks like the Justice Department trying to push it on the Trump campaign, this approach to removing the Magnitsky Act that was curtailing the rights of oligarchs in Russia in terms of a sanctions regime and impositions of sanctions. So the irony here is that Fusion GPS was working for the Clinton camp to target Trump, also working for the Putin camp to target the government generally in terms of getting this Magnitsky Act pulled away.
But then it suggests, David, that the Russians would be colluding with Christopher Steele to make Trump look bad.
The Democrats right now, Judge, are pushing the biggest blame shift or blame the victim strategy that we have ever seen in political history. Most Americans don't know who Steele or this Russian oligarch are. Yet a convincing number of them now realize there were people working for Hillary Clinton who would say or do anything to keep Donald Trump from being president. And it only underscores why Hillary Clinton had the lowest approval rating of any candidate in presidential history.
You know, Judicial Watch, Doug, we found out after Steele had been fired by the FBI that Bruce Orr met with him to launder information to get back to the FBI. But it gets even better. Orr was trying to get Steele back to the FBI as an informant or a human confidential source, whatever they call him. But more importantly, he was trying to get him on the Mueller team. This cabal, they're all incestuous.
Yeah, I guess my position as somebody in the middle here is all of these documents that Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch are seeking, it strikes me in the interests of justice, not partisanship, ought to be released so we know what the facts are. That'll help us judge every aspect of this increasingly murky case.
You know, Tom, let me just ask you this, because what Doug says is so true. No one has questioned any of the information you've unearthed. You know, no one is saying it's not true, it's not this, it's not that. But every day we have to fight for everything. To what end are you getting this information? Obviously, to get the information out. We know that in the public square. But what do you want ultimately, Tom? You're working your butt off here.
Well, we think the corruption scandal of our time is this targeting of Trump using the FBI and DOJ in league with the Clinton camp and Russia interests to spy on him and try to destroy now his presidency. And I frankly think Congress is walking around or trying to talk around Mueller's involvement in all this. Steele was part of the Mueller operation. Remember, Judicial Watch uncovered the FISA warrant application signed by Rod Rosenstein in June of 2017 last year. Right in the middle of the Mueller operation. Mueller was using Steele's information, source number one, the Fusion GPS dossier that Steele helped create, to justify spying on Carter Page of the Trump team, or, you know, who had been formerly with the Trump team. Mueller has a lot of questions to answer about his relationship with Steele, his use of that material, because I'm convinced Mueller was pursuing the Clinton DNC dossier all through his investigation, and it's all based on corruption. And this is why Mueller needs to be confronted directly. I would like to see Congress bring him in and ask him questions about his use and misuse of these sources.
Wow. Okay. Does Congress have the authority to bring him in?
Of course they do. It's fear-based decision-making in Congress. They are protecting Mueller at the leadership level, and he needs to be held to account the way every other government bureaucrat in this town needs to.
I like the way you think, Tom Fitton. David, what's your response to that?
Democrats thought they were going to bring havoc to Republicans this year in the elections by pushing this shifting the blame, blaming the victim strategy. And the reality is it is one thing that is motivating base Republican voters to go to the polls to make sure that Republicans get a fair chance in this election.
Doug, you're the pollster. You're the Democratic pollster. What's going to happen?
I think at this point the Democrats have a clear advantage. And the reason is it's not so much that this investigation or these issues we've been talking about are impacting voters. I don't think they are. It's that there has been a sideshow for the Republicans that's taken emphasis off the economy, off the tax cuts, and off the benefits. And if I could offer my Republican friends some free advice, talk about the economy, talk about the progress. In 1982, the Republican slogan under Ronald Reagan was "Stay the course." The Republicans need something like that. Otherwise, the Democrats will take the House, which is where things stand now.
You know, David Avella, you are the head of GOPAC. I mean, you have your tentacles all across the country in terms of state legislators. What do you think of what Doug just said? The idea of stepping on our own good news story by going after this Russia collusion. Does he have a point?
He does have a point. We do need to be talking about the economy. But let's also keep in mind, and the Democrats keep talking about, oh, we're going to pick up, if we win 17 state legislative seats, we pick up 8 legislative chambers across the country. Judge, if Republicans pick up 11 seats, we pick up 6 more chambers, and we already have 67 of 99. We'd have 72 of 99. This battlefield is every bit as competitive for Republicans as it is for the Democrats. And the key will be which base turns out to vote.
Well, and I think Doug was really talking about you have the historic, the precedent advantage. Tom, where are you going next?
Oh, we're fighting the FBI over text messages for the corrupt FBI official Andrew McCabe. The FBI doesn't want to turn over one text message to us. They don't want to even look at them.
This blows my mind. The president appoints Christopher Wray. The first time he testified before Congress, Christopher Wray does the dance. Well, we'll hand you the stuff over. So now we have to not just ask for a FOIA, we have to sue in a lawsuit. All right, I think I had the last word.